Hi, this is Matt Gerlach, and I am a coach, guide, and mentor. And on my episode for the Business Growth Architect Show, I will show you how to find alignment and create fulfilling lives and businesses. Listen to the full show to find out exactly how.
And hello, fabulous person. Beat Gerlach here. I am the host of the Business Growth Architect Show, and I want to welcome you to today's episode where we discuss how to navigate strategy and spirituality to achieve time and financial freedom. Truly successful people have learned how to master both, a clear intention and a strategy to execute that in a spiritual practice that will help them to stay in alignment and on purpose. Please enjoy the show and listen to what our guest today has to say about this very topic. Welcome back. Beat Gerlach, the Business Growth Architect, today live with Matt Gerlach. And Matt and I had a phenomenal conversation about aligned businesses, purposes, being enough, what it takes to get started, the patterns that keep you away from doing the things that you need to do. So Matt, I'm excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here with you.
So for somebody who's never heard about you or is not familiar with your work, what do you do and what problem do you solve for your clients?
Fulfillment. After a journey through creating my own unfulfilling and misaligned business, I help entrepreneurs align their lives with their businesses because we know they're related, and to have them out of alignment makes us suffer. It makes us have health problems emotionally and physically. And I really help people make a lot of money doing things that they enjoy doing with their lives.
So why is this even relevant right now? I mean, if I turn on the TV and I listen to the political messages or any message right now, it seems to be more money is better. Mm-hmm. If I had enough money, I could throw it at everything and then magically all my problems will go away because after all, I have money. What do you say to that?
Money doesn't solve every problem. Money does solve a lot of problems, and I would agree that that is what's out in the universe right now a lot. And I think it's partly valid. But at the end of the day, none of us are promised tomorrow. We all know people who have had their lives end too early while they have been waiting for tomorrow, waiting to enjoy their lives after they sold the business. We're supposed to be making lives that we enjoy living now. And that is what I firmly believe, and that's what I help my clients figure out and execute upon.
Well, luckily, I believe the same thing. I'm from a different generation where we were taught hard work is everything and don't owe anything to anyone and don't let anybody see you down, portray your image in a particular way. So what do you think has changed? Has there been for better words, a change in consciousness? Has there been a great awakening, a mass activation? What's going on in the market?
My belief would be largely this is largely economically driven in terms of change. I was actually reading, I think it was the New York Times this morning, an article about how this woman who I think she was in her 60s was saying that I feel bad taking my senior citizen discount now because when this started, it was when seniors were generally not okay. Now we have more wealth than people in their 30s and 40s. And it really got me to think about, like, this is what's going on. I mean, people in their 30s and 40s right now are struggling more than ever to buy homes, to afford their lives. And I think it's just completely changed things where now if we're not going to be able to afford to buy the nice home, then we want to create a life that feels good and doing what we can within our control to be enjoying our lives. I mean, I don't really know anybody in corporate life right now that's working for a corporation who's happy. I don't really know many people working for corporations who are getting paid more today than they were a few years ago either. Of course, there's exceptions to that, but people who are performance-based, companies aren't doing as well as they once were. Right now, like, the whole thing is changing because we want to enjoy our lives. And I had to make this big decision for myself a couple of years ago when I was starting my coaching business. All these people out there saying, make a business that you could sell, make a business that has value beyond you one day. And I think that's very wise, don't get me wrong. But for myself, I looked within myself and what I want. I want a job that I enjoy doing for the next 50 years or 40 years. I don't want to be working very hard in my 70s, but I do still want to be working because I want to maintain my sharpness. And I think there's just a huge change. I mean, largely driven from economics, as I said, but also life expectancy being so much longer. And I don't know. I saw my grandparents retire at 55 years old and sit in a couch for 30 years, and that's not what I want for my life.
I think that's a really interesting point you're making, and I don't think I've really thought about it quite like that, but I think you have a very valid point. There is this piece where we say the lie of the matrix, and I'll just call it freely the matrix, is that we are working ourselves to death. We give our time in exchange for money to reach a particular point at some point in the future, at which then when we, I guess it's retired, which is why people are so upset if that point is moved from 65 to 67 or, God forbid, 68 or 69, is because they've been believing this their entire lives. And so did their parents, that if they were to get to this point, life would be amazing. And now that the people that get there are realizing, well, it's a lie. It's a lie. So you figured this out. How did you figure out that this was going to be a lie?
Well, I checked all the boxes my whole life. I've been working since I've been 15 years old. During college, I actually worked full time at a hospital, working as a heart monitor technician and unit secretary. And looking back on this, I really have quite a bit of compassion for 18, 19-year-old Matt Gerlach who did this. It was a very mature job that an 18 or 19-year-old who's looking to enjoy their lives and find themselves should not have been doing, because it wasn't very enjoyable. But I continued. I graduated college, became a metal salesperson. I highly doubt anybody is going to bed at night dreaming of becoming a metal salesman when they graduate college. And kept doing that. Luckily, in 2008, the economy hit the metal sales industry pretty tough, and I had to make a change, which was one of the biggest gifts I've ever been given. And I decided to move from Los Angeles to New York. It had always been my dream to move to New York. And I wound up selling baby products, not necessarily something I dreamed about, but it was a very, very nice industry, and everyone was really sweet. I worked for my first entrepreneurial company. I started at the company when it was a $3 million company, and overnight it grew to be a $30 million company, and then went on to become well over a $100 million company. I eventually decided to start a consulting business. Before I started coaching, I started consulting, and I helped small, medium, baby product brands with their sales and revenue generation and just overall business. I had been in the industry for a long time and learned quite a bit. And immediately when I started this business, I was plagued with what I would have called at the time just worrying. I was incessantly worrying, and I was sad. I'm using the words that I would have been able to identify back then with.
Yes.
And I felt I never attempted suicide, but I was worried that that was something that could happen because I was suffering so badly. And it provoked a massive healing journey. And I have spent well over $200,000, tens of thousands of hours. I became a yoga teacher. I engaged in tons of coaching and therapy and programs and meditation retreats and the whole 9 yards. And I ended up leaving this business that I grew to where I was earning $1 million a year from, because I wasn't satisfied. It wasn't fulfilling. Like, we think that once we get to this place where we have the money, all of our problems are gone. And don't get me wrong, money solves a lot of problems. The reason I'm here right now is because I have a cushion to allow me to make this pivot. So when I'm working with people, there has to be some sort of financial planning process, whether that is moving in with somebody or living off of savings or something. I mean, it is a fundamental need of ours to be able to eat. But I can tell you that since I've changed and left something that was not fulfilling me, my life has never been better. And money is not what it was at that point. And it's growing. I believe it'll get back there and beyond. But at the end of the day, our problems are still there. When we have money, we have more money to be able to buy fancier wine and champagne and go on vacations. But at the end of the day, the problems are all still there. And that's why I have really gone into this coaching business that I call really a solution to fulfillment, to helping people find and understand what truly they want for themselves.
Yeah, it's a very powerful way to put that. Is I think the realization when you're in the matrix or in the belief system or in the story that you've been told, and then you wake up and you say, I've done everything by the book and I am so unhappy. There are three choices that you have. You're either going to blow up your health, you're going to blow up your relationship, or you're going to blow up your business or your career, because those are the only three options that you have. That's one of my things, Matt, when I speak to my clients, I can already tell which is the most likely to blow up. Because if they have a good relationship, they're not going to blow that up. But if they're iffy on, their own health, or they're already iffy on their business, we already know that you're now standing a 50-50 chance of blowing either one or both up because you're not making the changes that you need to be making. So we're going to take a quick break and then we'll talk about what we can do about this. So Matt, take me through this. So somebody now figures out, I need more. And not necessarily more in the sense of money. Let's just assume, for the sake of this show, we all know you need to make money, you need to pay your bills, you need to have some left, you want to have a good life. But somebody feels that they're out of alignment. Do they know they're out of alignment?
If they're coming to me, they know they're out of alignment. They may not be using those exact words, but they know something's wrong. When a client finds me, they have already achieved some level of success, and they thought that when they got to the certain place that they're at, they'd feel better, and they feel like something's missing in their lives. They're not sure what it is. They're almost certainly not sure what it is. I'm a big believer in, like, you reach this point when you have that freedom in your life. Once you aren't in this survival mode, when you have a little bit more bandwidth, then you start to be able to dream about what's more. I just had a client this morning actually come to me. Very similar story to what most of my clients do. They're in their 40s and they're successful, and they're like, what is next? I don't know myself well enough. I don't really know what I want with my life. I've always checked all the boxes, and now that I'm at this place in my life, I've been given these, I have a 6-month runway. Him and his partner had talked about having 6 months for him to figure out what he wants to do with his life. He doesn't know how to answer this question. And that's when a lot of my clients find me. And they know something's out of alignment. They do not know what to do about it, though.
All right. So now I'm coming to you. I have this unspecified dissatisfaction. I'm unhappy. I can't find purpose. I have no meaning. I'm not sure what it is. Where is the journey going?
We need to find out what they really want for their lives. And these are questions about, like, what fulfills you? What would you do if money wasn't in the equation? What do you want your days to look like? What do you want your days not to look like? Some people do come to me with a pretty good understanding of where they're at, and other people just completely have no idea, and they need to start with some rudimentary, just straight old journaling practice. Like, I don't like to tell my clients they have to do certain things. Like, you don't have to do yoga to work with me. You do have to journal to work with me at this point, because we need to understand what's going on beneath all of these desires. So I usually will start my clients out with making a list each day of what they want. Just starting off what I want, and listing the things that you want. Not things that you need, not things that you should want, but things that you want. And sometimes after just 3 or 4 days of that, we can start to develop some patterns. Sometimes it takes a few weeks before we start to see what really those patterns are telling us. But we need to understand what you really want for your lives. And a lot of it's just limiting beliefs. We want to be a writer, but we've been told that writers don't make money. Well, if you want to be a writer, let's explore the ways that writers can make money. And limiting beliefs are really, really detrimental to us.
So what I'm hearing you say is the journey is not an external journey, it's an internal journey.
Most of it is internal, yeah.
So is it then correct to say that more success, and this is completely a leading question for full disclosure here, but is it then a true statement to say that success means you got to align the internal for it to align with the external?
I mean, I would say that's a more advanced definition of success. I think that people need to reach a certain level of external success to have the privilege of starting to think about internal success and what it looks like. A lot of people are just in survival mode. And those aren't necessarily the people that I work with. Those aren't the people that are generally gravitated towards me. Those are people that are trying to survive. And I really work with people who have exceeded the point of survival and get to start asking themselves those questions.
I think you're making a really good point, and let's just spend like a minute on there now. And a lot of times coaches have a tendency to go to people that need them but can't pay. How did you reconcile that internally? Because to me, it's a question that doesn't get answered or addressed often enough. And it leaves a lot of people that are making the transition then stranded with no money and running back to another corporate job only to be unhappy for even longer. How did you, or how can one maneuver that? Or what do you tell your clients to maneuver that?
I'm smiling a little bit because it is a practice. Everybody wants this silver bullet. Everyone wants to hear, like, what's your framework? And there is a framework. We are taking somebody along, but it's a very simple framework. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's in the way? Like, what are the next steps we can take? I mean, the frameworks don't need to be overly complicated. And this is why I work very closely with the smaller number of individuals, because I support them through the practice. And the practice is journaling. The practice is learning how to take care of yourself better. The practice is doing some sort of physical activity. Like for me, like this morning I woke up, I wasn't exactly like feeling perfect. I mean, it's the weekend. I ate a lot more cookies than what I would like to and what I know would have set me up for ultimate success today. I practiced. I went out for my run. I did yoga. I meditated. I do these things because this is what we need to do to keep ourselves functioning in some levels. So there's not like a silver bullet, like if I just drink this magic protein drink or whatever, I feel perfect. This is kind of the two things that I do really require of my clients. They need to read so they can dream bigger. And so they're self-servicing themselves and getting some answers for themselves. These books are so underrated. I mean, $30 for a book and you learn millions of dollars of people's lessons. What I really realized is it's all the energy, it's all the universe. Like, and if I'm saying no to the wrong opportunities, I'm inherently saying yes to the right ones. And it takes patience. But this whole journey that I take my clients through is a journey of learning how to sit in discomfort and learn that they're not going to die from sitting in discomfort. But also, I am a yoga teacher and I bring this into the equation as well. During yoga, we learn like you're not supposed to be sitting through horrible, excruciating pain. And there is help needed to decide what is discomfort and what is pain. And yeah, I mean, I've learned to sit through discomfort. Some days I do a little better than others, but for the most part, it's getting better over time. And the more that I say no to the wrong things, the more the right things are coming my way, and I help my clients do the same.
Do you believe that having this spiritual practice is the key to everything?
I do believe it makes things a lot easier. I would say that I have been a spiritual practitioner for quite some time. I am religious. I believe in God. I don't know that it's a man in the sky. I don't know that it's not. But recently, I just found Kabbalah. Are you familiar with Kabbalah?
Mm-hmm.
This is quite remarkable. Kabbalah, I would say, is incredibly accessible and it's non-controversial, in my opinion. I mean, it's pretty much what I've learned so far is an obstacle is an opportunity. An opportunity for what? An opportunity to be more creative. Your client says, no, I don't want to work with you. That's an opportunity for you to do a better job at showing your clients why they should work for you. You make a mistake, it's an opportunity to learn how to improve. All of these things that happen are opportunities that are grooming us for something bigger in life. And I would say that Kabbalah has been incredibly helpful for me in this journey.
Yeah, and our show really is certainly not denominational in any way, but to say what resonates and what is the message that resonates. I have learned the deeper you go into any kind of method or any kind of spiritual teachings, and that could be even yoga, is that the more things are all aligned. It's all about quieting your mind. It's all about learning how to control that pesky voice in your head. It's all about learning how to think clean and to not allow your old stories, your trauma, your mismatched messaging to mess up your current life. And then, stepping into the vision and holding that vision and then creating an energy with resonance to achieve this vision and bring that into your life. I have not seen anyone where that's not the case. The Catholics are certainly interpreting it a particular way, the evangelicals too, because they believe that you have to have the one guy, and it happens to be mostly a guy in charge who holds the keys for you to be actually able to do that, which we know is bullshit. So everybody can have a direct connection to spirituality, universe, God, energy, whatever you kind of want to call that. So let's go and pivot a little bit. Now,
That real-
go.
No, like I love what you said. I mean, I have stones sitting here on my desk. I practice meditation every morning. I journal. I am somehow, a woman gave me the Daily Stoic about 8 years ago, and I
love the Stoic, yeah.
Me too, honestly. Like, and that's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, I practice yoga. All of these things work, but this Kabbalah thing has really, really worked. Stoicism really, really worked. It's about having a variety and going where things go. These stones are all sitting here. There have been times when I've carried them from here to my bed, to my dinner table. Sure. I mean, I'll try anything. And what resonates the most right now is this Kabbalah work. So
Exactly. And you go through phases where you do different things. I was listening to this one interview with this one guy, and he goes and he says, well, I use my tarot cards and I use my meditation to get information. And he does LSD and medicine journeys. And he uses all these modalities to help his clients by saying, let's use everything that's available to us because it is all connected to help you by finding what resonates with you. So I'm really glad you stopped me there to go deeper into that, because I think a lot of people are afraid of it, especially people that are Catholic or been evangelical, because, or, sometimes I think the Mormon Church or the Jehovah's Witnesses, where the doctrine is so intense that somebody says, well, can I not be yoga curious? What is so wrong about a different philosophy other than mine? So I'm glad you say to our audience, it's okay.
And this is why I'm careful. Like, you don't have to practice yoga to work with me. You don't have to read the book of Stoicism with me. But there's a lot of different modalities that we can explore together. And there was a book I read called You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. It was just really funny. I mean, and she said in this book, like, she's like, I've coached thousands of people. And she was like, without spirituality, like, no one's gotten that far. Like, you have to have some sort of belief in just like the higher power taking over at a certain point. And that really spoke to me. And that can look different for everybody.
And it's so interesting. Some people that are really pushing back hard on the spirituality because they think that spirituality has something to do with religion, organized religion, and there's some trauma around that. And I remember this great quote from Marianne Williamson, and she says, God doesn't ask, are you coming? Mm-hmm. God asks, are you coming now or later? And I think that really puts it in perspective. You don't have a choice, because if you are getting to your deathbed and you don't believe in anything, you're going to have a pretty tough time transitioning.
It's so interesting. I've noticed myself, like when I pray at night, like this has been massively demonstrating the growth that I've had over the years. Like, I'm able to now say to God, like, use me as you see fit. Like, I know you have a plan for me. And I remember 10 years ago, like literally not being able to do that because I couldn't trust. And it took 10 years for me to get here, 10 years of me probably praying almost every single night. And now where I'm finally able to like let go. And I think that's the part about spirituality that's so powerful, is that like we have to just trust that. And this is how I've remedied my anxiety so much. It's that I've learned to trust like this vision we have for ourselves. Like, when that's the only vision we're allowing, it is really stressful. When we allow for us to be flexible in life, that's when we are able to accomplish so much more than we ever thought possible.
Yeah, somebody else that I'm going to have on the podcast said, people rush to be safe so they can die safe. And I thought that put it in such good perspective to say, can we lean into the experience of life and trust that it's a friendly universe? So let's talk about this for a second. So let's say I'm in the corporate job. Somehow I found this show. And now I'm listening to you and I'm going like, okay, this is all really nice. Thank you for the yoga. I've tried it, not working for me. I hate my job. What do I do? I can't just like go into trust the universe and put on my white flowy ceremonial clothes and take the leap. I have to have a plan. What do I do?
For most of my clients that come to me like this, it is getting clear on numbers. So we'll dig into numbers and see, like, a lot of people in that situation, they do have freedom and they need help understanding that they do have freedom. They need help understanding like what it's going to look like to take. Some of these people, like in that situation, have $3 million in the bank and they've never met anybody that are able to help them see that their bank account doesn't always need to keep going up, that they need to value their health. I say this to my clients often. If I came to you and said, like, your health is deteriorating, you either can keep down the corporate path you're on and die in 3 years, or you can make this choice, take this step back in some ways. Which would you choose? 100% of people are going to choose to take that step back. And we don't realize how close that is to becoming a reality for some of us. And so it's really getting clear on the numbers and just understanding like what this looks like. And I'm very transparent with clients. I share a lot of my journey. I'm very vulnerable about it. My checking account, which had significant amount of money in it for this transition, then I had kind of like the next scary account, and then the scary account of starting to take money out of. There's still plenty in the checking account. Like money comes in, I've adjusted spending. This has changed. It's like I can't even. I don't know how all this money's come my way. And it's not like there's like $100,000 falling from the sky every day, but it's just like things are, I don't know, our home insurance gave us $1,000 the other day. Things start kind of happening, and this worst case scenario never really comes to fruition. Like we stopped going out to eat. We didn't really eat much in the first place out. I cook all the time at home, but like you just start to realize what's important. And my coach said to me at the beginning of this journey, she's like, so you'll get creative. And then I was like, what does that mean? And then she's like, well, you have a big house, right? You can Airbnb up some of your rooms. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And then like, as I progressed down this journey, I'm like, you know what? I love meeting people. I'm bringing people into my home. And I'm like, how cool would it be to have like people coming from Europe and staying in my home and me cooking them breakfast? I'm getting creative about these opportunities. So
yeah, and that is big part of the surrender experiment, is to say you don't judge the path. It creates the opportunity, because then oftentimes the stories afterward is then that the guest from Europe that came, that connected with you, did the thing that then became the thing that then you got involved with, that then led to this incredible opportunity that would have never happened if you wouldn't have done that. If I am in a spot where I feel the dissatisfaction rising so much that I know something has to happen, or I will die, or I will get sick, or I will blow up any part of my life. The trust into the voice that it's not misleading you, but it's leading you to something good is the key. And then the not judging of the way. That's what I'm hearing from you.
absolutely. Our lives are always speaking to us. And our job in life, if we want to do a good job at it, is to listen to those voices before they become heart attacks, before they become divorces, before they become car accidents from falling asleep while driving because we're exhausted from our jobs. But yeah, the call is to do something about those voices. And a lot of my clients come to me not really knowing what to do about them, and I help them through that. This is the thing also. So many of us think that like we need to have a plan, but when we've been going, checking these boxes our whole life, it does take some time to like unwind and to start allowing our creativity to start coming to light. So a few months ago, I started hosting, I call it the Friday Brunch Club. I invite a group of local business leaders into my home every other Friday, and it's been something that I've started doing. I never would have thought 6 months ago when I was leaving my high-paying job that this would be what I'm doing. I'm not charging for it either. It's really just my way to meet new people. And of course, it would be great if some of the people decide to work with me one day, but I'm also just kind of letting this unfold and seeing where it leads. And so far, it's been really things that people are saying about the growth they're experiencing at this brunch is incredible. And it's something that I am doing, and it's helping me gain more confidence and clarity around my mission. So it's just kind of crazy that like the path does unfold, and I support people through this.
You had said something when we spoke for the first time. You said, find joy in starting small.
Yeah.
Do you want to, as we're closing out, maybe explain what that means? And then we'll tell people how they can find you.
Find joy in celebrating the small numbers. When I started this, I had goals like I want like 100,000,
10,000 people, yes.
Yeah, all these things. And now it's like when somebody follows me on Instagram, which doesn't happen every day, it happens once, maybe twice a week, I might get a new follower. I'm excited about it. I've learned to get excited about that. On my website, people download this 5-step guide that helps people on their journey to building the life they want. It's exciting when somebody gives me their email address, when someone resonates enough with me to want to share that information with them. And I've also had to embrace that I am not going to be some expert business internet marketer. I just am getting so, like, each Friday I have these 7 people in my house, and this is 7 people. 7 times 26, that's 160 people a year that are coming through my door that I'm able to impact in their lives. Like, how incredible is that over the course of 10 years? That's 1,600 people, and not even including the halo effect that happens. But we're not able to impact 100 people until we can start impacting 10. And we can't start impacting 10 until we can start impacting that 1. And I think that's, from my experience, what keeps people from starting. And I heard you on a podcast of yours earlier talking about who even wants 1 million customers? It's true, I mean, most
should me. Should me. Certainly not today. I mean, if I had 1,000 clients come tomorrow, what would I even do? So I do think that there is a conscious approach to that, which I really appreciate you sharing. So for somebody who has now heard this and said, I should check Matt out, where do we send them, Matt?
You can email me directly. I don't normally give out my email address, but since you're local in LA, I'm assuming a lot of the people out there are as well. And you can email me directly at matt@mattgerlach.com. If you're in LA and interested, I do this Friday Brunch Club, and I'd love to hear from you if you're interested in attending and think it might serve you. On my website, there is this guide which distills my $200,000 plus and 10,000 plus hours of work that will get you started on your journey, and you can schedule a free 45-minute call with me in there. But I'm just at this place where I'm looking to serve people and happy to help in however I can. So I encourage anyone to just reach out, and I'm on all the socials. You can find that from the website as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, Matt, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me today.
And that's it for us for today. So if you know anybody who is wanting to make the leap, or who is leaping and unhappy and need someone to help them dive into purpose, please do share this episode and share some of the stuff that we talked about. We talk about this on the show a lot, but this is happening more and more and more and more. I've talked about the mass activation many, many, many times. You can see it. It's not just me. There's a lot of us out there that are really here to support all of you into making your impact, into reaching the story that you want to tell the world. You're not alone. And with that, I say goodbye until next time.
So appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for listening to the entire episode. Please subscribe to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, a comment, and share this episode with one more person so that you can help us help more people. Thank you again. Until next time. Goodbye.